Everybody, and welcome to Classroom Champions Live, where we bring our amazing Classroom Champions mentors into your living room. I hope everybody had a great time yesterday with Apollo Ono. I know I did. Today, we have two of our amazing University of Pennsylvania student athlete mentors with us, and I'm excited to introduce them. So let's bring them up. Good morning, Sydney. Good morning, Jeff. You guys, Sydney and Jeff are awesome. They're some of our regular mentors. They have some cool classrooms out there. We want to give a shout out to Sydney and Jeff's classrooms, and I want to introduce them for those of you who don't know them yet. So Sydney Woods is a freshman at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. She does track and field, and her specialty is pole vault. So let's take a look at pole vault. I don't know how many of you guys at home know what pole vault is. Let's see. Sydney, can you explain pole vault a little bit to us?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, as seen, everybody uses a pole of different sizes and weights. And the goal is to plant the pole into the box at the beginning of the mat and use it to try to get as high as you can, and with the goal of clearing the bar. So every bar you clear, you keep moving and moving and moving until you miss.
That is such a cool sport. I was telling you earlier that, I'm a freestyle aerial skier. I used to be, and I always loved jumping and flipping and stuff. And so I wanted to do pole vault when I was younger, but they didn't let girls do it. How crazy is that? So way to be a pioneer in a really cool sport. It's awesome. So Sydney's team, you guys also won the Ivy League Conference Championships this year. So congratulations. Sydney's major is undeclared, but she is into finance and real estate. And yeah, awesome. Welcome to Classroom Champions Live, Sydney.
Thanks.
All right, you guys, we also have Jeff Zucker with us today. He's also University of Pennsylvania student athlete mentor. His sport is tennis, which I bet you guys know quite a bit about. But Jeff, tell us a little bit about how you got into tennis. You play both singles and doubles, right?
Both, yep.
Yep. Perfect. All right. So here's some video of Jeff playing tennis, you guys. How many of you guys at home play tennis? You are always welcome to post things in the comments. Tell us where you are, what sports you love. But Jeff, tell us a little bit about how you got into tennis.
My mom played tennis in college, and so it was really the only sport that I played like passionately. And so it's kind of been one of those things that I've been doing since I've been around 5, and 15 years later, I'm still doing it. So.
Awesome. Well, you guys, Jeff is also a major in neuroscience and a minor in chemistry. So Jeff and Sydney are going to take us through a pretty cool science experiment today. But first, let's say hi to everybody who's here. Griffin is here. Griffin loves tennis. That's awesome. Charlotte is here and wants to say hi to her friend Elsbeth, who is in morning. Lori, good morning. And Dylan, good morning. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Really happy to have you here. Dylan says that he loves tennis and it's one of his favorite sports since baseball. So you guys, what we're going to do today, everybody's at home right now. Sydney and Jeff would rather be at school, just like a lot of you guys, but they're at home studying. So Jeff, tell me a little bit about what it's like being home right now instead of in school.
It's definitely a difference from normal school life. I'm a rising senior, so I've been at school for 3 years, and coming back and being home with my parents and just not really leaving the house or getting out much is definitely tough. But the way I've been coping with it really is like really doing a lot of schoolwork, staying active, playing with my dogs, and just really trying to work out a lot and do home workouts and get outside and get fresh air.
Awesome. And Sydney, what about you? How's it going at home right now?
Yeah, it's definitely been different. I'm finally starting to adjust to things. I spend most of my time, similar to Jeff, exercising, working out, studying, getting some homework done, helping out around the house. And the one positive thing I like to think is it's much more time with family and my 2 dogs. So yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, but I'm trying to make the best of it.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you guys are both making the best of it. I'm going to do one more question before we jump into our experiment. Elspeth wants to know, and I believe this is for Jeff, did your parents make you do lessons when you were younger, or did you always love practicing?
I loved it when I was younger. Then I had a little bit of a phase where it was like retaliating, and I didn't love going. But I'm so glad that I persevered through it and continued. And touching back on a lot of the lessons we've had, I've built such a good community around my friends at tennis and like my team. And so once I had that community and people that I was there with, it was one of my favorite things to do, and I loved going.
That's awesome. Good morning, McKenna and Sherry. McKenna's auntie plays tennis, which is super fun. And Dylan, Heather says that tennis is the only sport that she's really good at. So we'll pop into a couple other comments later, but I want Sydney to kick off our experiment for today. You guys, you can do this experiment at home if you have the stuff with you right now, or you can come back and do it later. Sydney, take it away.
Yeah, so this experiment we're going to show you guys today is super simple, only requires a few things. So I'm going to get started and show you the setup. So the first thing you need is a bowl, which we have right here. And I'm going to tilt down so you guys can see as I set it up. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the bowl with water. Just like that. And then I'm going to take pepper, the type you would have around the house, and I'm going to basically just sprinkle it on top of the water. Just like that, just cover the surface. And then the only other material you need is some soap. So I have some soap right here that I have on the side. So just like that, as you can see, I set it up in less than 30 seconds. It's super simple and it's going to be a really fun experiment.
Awesome. Thank you, Sydney. That is perfect. Let's bring Jeff back up. Jeff, can you tell us the second step in the experiment?
Yeah, so I followed Sydney's instructions and I have my soap and my water right here and my pepper. And so now I'm going to like dip my finger in some pepper. And as you can see that there's all this pepper floating around due to the surface tension of water. And now I have my soap and rub it into my fingers a little. And now I'm just going to place it in. And you should see that all of the pepper flies away from where my hand is, wherever it goes. So
that is so cool. What happens if you don't have soap on your finger?
So if I don't have soap on my finger, then all of this, as I redisperse it, is just going, this is my finger without soap, will just stay right near my finger. And as you can see, actually, all of the pepper will like collect on my hand.
Oh.
So it
Can you
doesn't
show
actually
us one more
distribute.
time? Show us one more time what happens.
Let me see if it will work again. So sometimes it doesn't work. You have to restart
right, because you already broke the surface tension. All right. Yes, well, so everybody at home, you can start it from the beginning. Do it with a finger without the soap on it, and then do it with a finger with soap on it, and see how the soap disperses. Jeff, why does this happen?
So let me just come back up and let my hand up. But the reason this happens is a really interesting phenomenon and like well understood like science backing. And it's really relevant right now with like coronavirus and all of these things that we're talking about with washing your hands. So soap and so water and soap have these two different properties. As you can see on the screen right now, that is a soap molecule, that thing with the green and all those little tails. And they kind of look a little bit like fish. And we call that a phospholipid bilayer. And it just means that there's these two things, like that green thing is hydrophilic. And that's like the idea that it really likes water. So that blue, like aqueous solution is just the water in this case. And the green is like one of these parts of these soap molecules. And then all that yellow stuff, while it looks like a big ball, it's actually what we call a hydrophobic. So like phobia, like fear, it's scared of water. And so these tails that are all scared, they say, hey, we don't like water, so we're on a group together because we're all scared together, and they all go together. And the heads, those hydrophilic heads, they like, we love water. We want as much exposure to water as we can. So they group around in this little circle. And the reason this happens is once I put my finger, the soap on my hand, and I put it into the water, it actually, the hydrophobic area of it pushes away the water from my hands. So all of the pepper is just traveling with the movement of water, because when the hydrophobic part of the, like the yellow part, when that touches the water, all of these, the water wants to run away from it. And that is how the pepper gets carried away as the water runs with it.
Wow, that is so cool. Griffin thinks it's really cool. And our partners at Ask, Listen, Learn say thank you so much for breaking that down so that we could all understand it. I totally agree. Thank you for breaking it down. And then tell us one more time how it relates to washing your hands.
Yeah, of course. So why this is important right now with washing your hands or with coronavirus is that viruses have this thing, like they're fat, like not the fat like that we get on our stomach, but they're fat. They have this fat surrounding, or a bilipid as I showed you, membrane. And so what's allowed to happen is when you wash your hands in the soap, it's able to go towards other things like that. Like I said, those tails like fats and they don't like water, so they surround it. So all of the virus gets clumped up in the middle of that where it's hydrophobic, and it then pulls it away actually. And so it's able to swallow it and pull it away. And so that's so important right now with coronavirus, because if we get like the pepper, we can think of it in this case is the dirt. And as you saw, without soap, it just clumped on my hands and I had all this virus on my hands. But once I put soap on, it was able to push away the pepper. And hopefully if you're running your hands underwater and washing your hands, it'll carry those germs down the drain and off of your hands. But that's a good way to prevent it. But just remember, guys, when you're staying home, not to touch your face or to touch surfaces, and wash your hands and drink a lot of water because it'll help your immune system.
Totally agree. Oh my gosh, that was such a cool explanation. I totally agree. Now, I have a couple questions that we didn't get to yet. So let's pop up to Dylan here. Sydney, this question's for you. Has the pole ever broken when you were using it?
That hasn't happened to me, but I have seen it happen to other people. They end up being fine because most of the time they just land on the mat, but it's definitely a little scary.
Totally. I think so as well. I have a question also for Jeff here. Jeff, do you have some dogs at your house?
Yeah, let me grab them. I have
Okay.
2 right now. Hold on, let me just get it. Here's
Awesome.
one. Oh. Carrying them since they're 90
Winston's still
pounds.
asleep, you
So I have
guys.
this one right here. And then
Who's
the
that?
other one, this is Asher.
Hi, Asher.
And let me grab the other one. Hold on a second. Hey, Tuna. Come here. Come. Oh, he's a little heavier. He's 90 pounds, so this isn't going to be as easy.
Let's see. Oh, good morning. It's awesome. Griffin wants to know if they chew on your tennis balls.
They do. They destroy them.
Awesome. Winston likes to chew on tennis balls at my house as well. You guys, those of you who have tuned in before have met Winston. Winston's my dog as well. So awesome. Well, we have some people at home who are really enjoying the science experiment. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I have a couple of questions myself. So what sports did you guys like when you were kids?
So I actually used to be a gymnast. I did competitive gymnastics from kindergarten up until 8th grade. And I really devoted most of my time to that. And then I ended up getting hurt and I had to switch sports. So in high school, I took up volleyball and I also took up indoor and outdoor track, which is how I got into pole vaulting.
Very cool. And all of these kids at home are probably eventually thinking about where they want to go to college. Maybe not just yet, but can you guys tell us why you picked University of Pennsylvania? And Jeff, why don't we start with you? Since you are a junior right now going into your senior year, do you have a favorite memory from University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's different ones every year. Freshman year is amazing, and I'm sure Sydney was like commencement when you first realized that you're like at college, you're no longer at school or at home, and just any memory living like with new people and in a dorm is really like a defining moment. But as like school years have gone on, a lot of my memories and favorite memories are with my team, and just different accomplishments that we've had together.
Awesome. That's a perfect answer. Sydney, we have a question for you. Griffin wants to know, can you still do the splits?
Not as well as I used to, but I think I still got it.
Nice. Awesome. Griffin, can you do the splits? I'd love to see that. All right. And a question from Angela. For both of you, why don't we have both of you answer this one? Do you find that your parents had a huge role in you being athletes?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was actually a collegiate wrestler, so I was definitely exposed to sports and especially the collegiate sports world from a young age. It was definitely something that he valued and would always talk about how his best friends in the world were his teammates and all of his greatest lessons he learned from sports. So it was something he definitely suggested that I try to do and get myself into because he had learned so many great lessons from it.
Perfect. And Jeff, did your parents play tennis?
Yeah, my mom played tennis in college. And so, my parents definitely were very influential in having playing sports, just between traveling, taking me places, getting me lessons, staying on top of me, and making sure to continue pushing me when I don't really want to play anymore or just was tired, but to keep going.
Perfect. I have 2 more questions for you guys, but in the meantime, I want to hear everybody's favorite sports at home. So go ahead and pop those into the comments. But for now, Sydney, do you have any pets?
I do. I have 2 dogs. They're both upstairs. I would grab them. But my family actually got our second dog. We have a puppy right after I left for college. So it seemed like they were trying to replace my presence in the house for the time being. But it's definitely been fun. I never really got to know her when I went to school. So we've been spending a lot of time together.
Perfect. And Jeff, for all the kids at home who either like or don't like science, when you were a kid, did you like science?
Yeah, I loved science and math in high school and in elementary school. I think that there's something so cool about like being able to know a lot of facts and use them for something different. And so I actually, the part of science that I'm most interested in is neuroscience. So I look a lot at the brain, and I think it's just really cool to be able to like know what's happening up here that like allows me to talk to you right now or communicate or raise my hand or just have my eyes follow a screen. And so like there's so many different fields of science that it's always disappointing to me when people are like, oh, I'm not a big science person, because they might have only been exposed to like just biology or chemistry. And like, that's not everybody's passion, but there's so many different other fields of science. So don't limit your science knowledge when you can study tons of different areas of it.
Totally. All right. We've got a couple answers coming in. Elspeth likes to do jumps, skiing wise. Me too, Elspeth. That's awesome. We've got another skiing and kayaking from Heather. We have, let's see, square dancing and track, and Dylan used to do baseball as well. And Lori loves watching the New Orleans Saints and playing basketball. Thanks to you guys for throwing those out there. And we have Highland dance and skateboard as well out of Charlotte. All right, you guys, I don't want to leave you without a game because I know how much we love playing games. So let's go back to our tried and true categories. And we'll do J for Jeff. Let's see if anyone can come up with a sport that starts with a J. And in the meantime, Sydney, do you like science?
Yeah, for sure. Especially as a freshman, I want to expose myself to all types of different classes. I do know that I want to be in the business school and I want to study something in business, but that doesn't necessarily mean I am closed off to different sciences. I especially like exercise science and stuff like that because it's really relevant to sports and health and fitness.
Awesome. All right. We have 1 answer, 2 answers. Let's see. We have judo. That is a good one. We have javelin from Heather. Juggling. I don't know how to juggle. Do you guys know how to juggle?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, you can.
Yeah.
Jeff can juggle. Perfect. Jousting, jumping jacks. Jumping jacks count, Charlotte, I think, for sure. All right, let's leave with 1 more. S for Sydney. Sports that start with an S. Jeff, Sydney, do you have any J sports? What do you got? Ski jumping. That's kind of a stretch.
My sister throws javelin, so that was the only one I had thought of. But that one,
I was going with javelin. Whoever did judo, I think it's Angela. That was a good one. I wasn't thinking of that, but definitely a good.
Griffin found a candy for us, jujubes. Thank you. Swimming. All right, we've got swimming. What else? What else is skiing? My favorite, skiing for sure.
Sledding. I guess is one.
soccer.
I like sledding. Soccer. Good. All right, let's see if we get a couple more. Anyone else with an S? I can't think of any more. I don't know. All right. Well, we'll post these later. We've got snowboarding. Of course, I should have thought of snowboarding. Soccer. It was Elsbeth that thought of judo. Awesome. Thank you, Elsbeth. You're always so good at categories. All right, you guys, we have just a minute left. Anything you want to say to your students at home? And show jumping. Good job, McKenna. That's a good one for horses.
I hope you guys enjoyed our little experiment. It was really fun for us to be able to show you this. And we hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy and having fun at home.
Yeah, to reiterate what Sydney said, please stay safe. this experiment hopefully shows you guys how important it is to wash your hands and keep germs away from your face and not touch your mouth or your nose, your eyes, because those are really easy access points. And just maybe it'll inspire some of you guys to go into science and do research on things like coronavirus or how different viruses can mutate and change and adapt to the world. And maybe you guys will be the people who fix it.
Yeah, I love that you guys taught us that science is fun for sure. And I'm going to just leave us with one last question because I hate not getting to the questions. Dylan wants to know, Jeff, have you ever gotten a major injury from tennis?
So yeah, I just actually, most of my Sydney and I's classrooms know it. I had shoulder surgery. I fell and dislocated my shoulder and really destroyed a big part of it. And so it really hindered my first 2 years in college. And so injuries are definitely something that could be a big setback. And I think Sydney has as well, had a big injury recently as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sydney, can you tell us a little bit about how you overcame that injury, just like real quick, and then we'll let everybody go.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely tough. My injury was a year recovery, so I just tried to really stay focused on what I could do in order to get back, like physical therapy. I hurt my foot, so I tried to do upper body exercises and all the physical therapy I could do and stay in touch with my teammates and coaches to try to keep myself in great physical, mental, and emotional shape. And yeah, it's definitely been a long recovery. I'm still dealing with a little bit of it now, but anything's possible, especially with a good support system.
Absolutely. I think so. And also the ability to adapt is super important. I'm going to throw up our challenge. Sydney, what's our challenge?
Yeah. So after showing you all our little experiment, we challenge you to try it at home and share with us your results using the hashtag #ClassroomChampions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, you guys. If we didn't get to your questions, I apologize. We'll get back to them later on the Facebook Live feed. We appreciate you all being here. Once again, if you enjoyed this video with Sydney and Jeff, there are many more on classroomchampions.org, and we would love to see you there. We will see you guys again tomorrow. We'll be doing another drawing activity with Haley Daniels. So thanks, everybody, so much. Sydney and Jeff, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.